Look, I've always said that we would cooperate with the government on issues of public interest, matters which are important to Gibraltar. I've offered help to the government, to Mr. Picardo, on, for example, the Brexit talks. He hasn't taken up that offer. When it came to the crunch, at the time of the worst moments of COVID, I worked shoulder to shoulder, my other colleagues in the GSD worked shoulder to shoulder with the government. The reality is that I am a constructive politician. What I'm not going to do is play games on this issue. I'm not going to fall into the trap that he has laid before, because he has invited us to work together with him on things like parliamentary reform, on special needs, and then he sets up committees, like for example the Environment Committee that he said he would set up. He did set it up, but he hasn't met in 3 years. The Special Needs Committee that he said he would set up hasn't met at all in the last 18 months. The parliamentary reform hasn't met in 5 years. I'm not going to fall into the trap of which he lays constantly, of kicking things forward into the long grass, burying issues which are important to Gibraltar. Anti-corruption, the anti-corruption agenda is a massive, massive issue that needs to be tackled, and it needs to be tackled robustly, and I'm not going to play games on this issue.
The accusation against you is that you've changed your tune on the concept of an anti-corruption authority, because in 2011 you said that it could undermine inward investment by creating alarmist headlines and that it could affect our finance centre business.
Well, look, that has a very simple answer, and the simple answer isn't to the credit of Mr. Picardo. The simple answer is that after 16 years of Peter Caruana's administration, I took the view in 2011 that there was no need, that it would send alarmist signals, because there was no basis, no factual need for an anti-corruption authority in Gibraltar. Here we are now, 11 years after Mr. Picardo's administration, and there is a crying need to deal with these issues, because he has tolerated practices, the cronyism, the conflicts of interests, the trafficking of influences that we all see. Those are the issues that lead to the public clamour. It's not to Mr. Picardo's credit, that's his legacy. In 2011, I took a completely different view because the circumstances were different. So, he's not setting up a defence to the point by saying, I said something different in 2011. The reason I'm saying something now in 2022 is because of his track record over the last 11 years.
Well, you said that the proposed bill for an anti-corruption authority doesn't go far enough. How much further would you go?
Well, it doesn't go far enough because it's very limited. Look, it's limited to specific criminal offences for a start. So it's not beyond that. It doesn't deal with issues like cronyism or conflicts of interest or trafficking of influences beyond criminality. So unless there's a criminal offence of that is scheduled in the proposed bill, it doesn't have any investigative jurisdiction. The investigative powers of the anti-corruption authority, the proposed authority, can be curbed and limited by a chief minister that still keeps powers within the Act. Those are things that strike the heart of the issue, and it's clear that this bill is a half measure. It's inadequate. It's being put out there 11 years, by the way, after the commitment that they had in their 2011 manifesto. It's a half measure. It doesn't hit the spot. It's only there to silence critics, but it's not going to silence the GSD because it's not good enough.